The ratings are in for Tuesday's special WWE Roadblock edition of NXT on the CW network. Will Ospreay confirms he'll be entering this year's Owen Hart Foundation Cup tournament with an aim to main event AEW All in Texas. Speedball Mike Bailey is All Elite. He makes his AEW debut last night as part of the International Title Eliminator Tournament. Orange Cassidy advances to the next round of the very same tournament. MVP gives his business card to MJF on Dynamite. Timeless Toni Storm is attacked by Megan Bayne. A big AEW World Championship street fight is confirmed for next week, with the winner facing Swerve Strickland in the main event of AEW Dynasty. Billy Starks will be challenging for Mercedes Moné's TBS title next week. Plus, the AEW International and Continental Championships could be set to be unified soon. Hey guys, welcome back to Wrestling News 365. Hope everyone is doing very well. As always, plenty of news stories to get into in the world of professional wrestling. Let's begin with the viewership information for WWE Roadblock, a special edition of NXT on the CW this past Tuesday. Tuesday's special Roadblock episode of WWE NXT averaged 732,000 viewers on the CW, which is up 4.9% from the previous week. It was the second largest audience for the show since February 11th. NXT finished 12th out of 13 shows in broadcast TV charts with a 0.15 rating in the 18-49 demographic, identical to last week. It ties the lowest rating the show has done in that category since last year's Christmas Eve episode. The show went head-to-head with college basketball on ESPN that topped the cable charts with a 0.25 18-49 rating and 911,000 viewers, as well as NBA action on TNT that finished second with a 0.24 rating and 851,000 viewers. As compared to the same week in 2024 when the show aired on USA Network, overall viewership was up 24.5%, while the 18-49 rating was down 6.3%, so the audience is skewing much older. And let's talk about AEW Dynamite last night. We maybe have a bit of an indication as to the main event plans for AEW All in Texas. Will Ospreay wants gold? The March 12th edition of AEW Dynamite featured an emotional promo from Will Ospreay as the aerial assassin got the chance to talk about what is next for him. Ospreay recalled one of his previous statements reminding fans that he wants to be the guy for AEW. After glancing at the show's banner, Ospreay declared that he wants to win the AEW World Championship at AEW All in Texas. Shortly after, Ospreay announced himself for the 2025 Men's Owen Hart Cup Tournament. Of course, the winner of this tournament will get an opportunity at the AEW World Championship at All in Texas, similar to how last year the winner, of course, got the main event match at AEW All in London. Now, it had been heavily rumoured for quite some time. Last night, it was made official. Speedball Mike Bailey is indeed All Elite. After months of rumours about where he could end up and where he could be, former TNA X Division champion Speedball Mike Bailey officially debuted on the March 12th episode of AEW Dynamite. It had been reported back in 2024 that Bailey was AEW bound after his contract with TNA Wrestling had expired, but fans were unsure as to when he would make his debut. His arrival was teased via a vignette on an episode of AEW Collision in February, and after the AEW International Championship Eliminating Tournament was announced with a mystery wildcard slot, fans expected the Canadian veteran to make his debut. However, Bailey didn't have it easy in his debut as he was drawn against the Beast Mortos, who didn't seem too fussed about Bailey showing him respect in the opening stages. While Bailey did showcase how vicious his kicks were, Mortos was able to take control on the outside, but that didn't last long as Bailey made a comeback with kicks, chops, and a big dive over the top rope into the commercial break. Mortos found his way back into the match after Bailey was crotched on the top rope, hitting a corkscrew tope to the outside before executing a backbreaker, a pop-up Samoan drop, and after Bailey met him up top, an avalanche press slam for a near fall. After a series of roll-ups that followed, but Bailey was able to withstand the onslaught of Mortos, landing a moonsault knee drop and a picture-perfect crescent kick to the head to pick up his first victory in AEW. Speedball now advances to the four-way tournament on March 19th, and he'll be joined by either Orange Cassidy or Hechicero. That result was determined. We'll let you know that in just a second. The winner of that match will face Kenny Omega at AEW Dynasty on April 6th, who has already made it clear he wants to be the best that AEW has to offer. Now, speaking of that other match, Orange Cassidy successfully advanced into the next round of the very same tournament on Dynamite last night. The AEW International Championship Eliminator Tournament kicked off on the March 12th episode of AEW Dynamite, with Speedball Mike Bailey making his debut for the company by defeating the Beast Mortos. It has now been confirmed that Bailey will be joined by Orange Cassidy in next week's four-way match to determine who faces Kenny Omega at Dynasty, as he picked up a big victory over CM Al star Hechicero. The Alchemist of the Ring was clearly not a fan of Cassidy's pockets, as he was flustered early on as Cassidy got into his head. The match quickly went into a commercial break, which saw Hechicero gain the advantage by tripping Cassidy while his hands were in his pockets and attempting various submissions soon after. Following a big knee in the corner, the action spilled to the outside, where Cassidy was thrown into the ring steps, and he got a big boot to the face for good measure. Back in the ring, Hechicero put Cassidy in a full Nelson before hitting a side slam that earned a near fall, and a pump handle suplex as the match came out of commercial. Cassidy then tried to create some distance, but Hechicero caught him in the ropes with a sleeper hold and a dragon screw as the luchador began targeting the leg. A momentary distraction saw Cassidy hit a crossbody from the top, but couldn't land the Tornado DDT as Hechicero countered it into a spinning hammerlock backbreaker for a 2 count. Hechicero went for a suplex, but that was countered into a stun dog millionaire by Cassidy, who finally landed the Tornado DDT. However, he couldn't keep up due to his injured leg, giving Hechicero enough time to recover as he caught Cassidy flying with a top rope elbow, attempting even more submissions. The match ended with Cassidy failing to land another stun dog millionaire and an orange punch, but was able to use Hechicero's momentum against him following a tilt-a-wheel head scissors as he ended up in the mousetrap with no way to kick out. Cassidy secured the victory. After the match, Speedball Mike Bailey made an appearance at the top of the ramp to hype him up, and Cassidy reaching the next round of the tournament as the show went off the air. Now, an interesting addition to the Hurt Syndicate could be coming in the future, maybe not one that many people will expect. MVP appeared to invite MJF to consider joining the Hurt Syndicate during AEW Dynamite. MJF entered the ring to cut a promo after losing to Hangman Adam Page at Revolution on Sunday, with a brief segment earlier in the broadcast showing him smashing a mirror in response and kicking an interview team out of his locker room when he noticed them. He addressed the loss, saying that he's now over it in the knowledge that he's smarter than Page and all those who support him. The Hurt Syndicate's music preceded MVP's entrance, meeting MJF in the ring for a brief stare down before both went in for a hug. MVP recorded his history of MJF dating back to when the former AEW World Champion was 18 years old, touting that even then MJF was proclaiming he would be a world champion, before going on to say he's proud of him. But he questioned why MJF felt he needed to explain himself after losing, reasoning that no one in the back feared him anymore, unlike the Hurt Syndicate. MVP said he was able to help MJF before and extended his business card so he can do it once more. He said that at first he was handing out the cards to establish and introduce himself, but now championship follow the Hurt Syndicate with the implication he could do the same for MJF, but MJF pushed it away and said despite their history, he is not the same person he was all those years ago. He was the AEW World Champion for 406 days, but MVP told him to focus on the word was, extending the card out once again. MJF took it to close the segment with a possible teaser. Timeless Toni Storm, still the AEW Women's World Champion, and she put her long-standing feud, the blood feud that is, with Mariah May on Sunday to an end at AEW Revolution. The AEW Women's World Champion's victory over May, which came after a bloody and brutal 13 minutes and a pile driver through a table, was capped by a title card reading the end, leaving many to wonder who is in the highly stylized champion's future. On AEW Dynamite, Storm was attacked by Stardom star Megan Bayne, who joined AEW in January. Bayne interrupted a post-Revolution promo from Storm, laying out the already injured champion. Storm was not only the only target of Bayne's ire, though, as the former Hog Women's Champion attacked Willow Nightingale and Chris Statlander following Nightingale's victory over Penelope Ford. Ford had attacked Willow after the loss, leading to Statlander and then Bayne's interference. Ford and Bayne have been allies in the past. Storm has been the AEW Women's World Champion since February, when she defeated Mariah May, getting revenge for May's title victory over her at All In 2024. The two had been embroiled in a feud rife with homages to old Hollywood classics like All About Eve and Sunset Boulevard. The reign is Storm's fourth with the AEW Women's World Championship since she joined the company back in 2022. Now, a huge match with major dynasty ramifications has been confirmed for next week's episode of AEW Dynamite. Cope and Jon Moxley will meet again for a Revolution rematch with the AEW World World Championship on the line next week on AEW Dynamite, with number one contender Swerve Strickland announced to face the victor at Dynasty next month. Cope did technically not lose in his initial title challenge against Moxley this past Sunday, with Christian Cage cashing in his next AEW champion contract and ultimately fumbling the opportunity, and he was choked out by Moxley as he zeroed in on Cope in the newly made three-way. Early in the night, Strickland had defeated Ricochet in their grudge match, securing the number one contendership. He delivered a swerve stomp to Moxley after his retention from the crowd to close the show. It was announced during this week's Dynamite that Strickland will be getting his shot at Dynasty on April 6th, giving him the opportunity to win his second AEW World Championship at the same event he earned his first last year against Samoa Joe. What is not known is who his opponent will be, with Cope and Moxley scheduled for a no disqualifications street fight next week. A backstage segment between Strickland and Cope was shown during the broadcast, with Cope reiterating they had not lost to his potential first challenger, provided he wins his title. Moxley also cut a promo in a segment following that, promising that he will not make the same mistake twice and will leave no doubt as to whether Cope could beat him. Cage later addressed his loss in a backstage interview segment flanked by Nick Wayne, Kip Sabian, and Shayna Wayne. Renee Paquette attempted to ask him about his loss, but he outright refused to talk to her due to her relationship with Moxley, dismissing her and demanding that he be given back his contract, reasoning they expressly cashed in for a singles match with Cope. Wayne then said that he was just making excuses, leading to a heated exchange between them to tease dissension within the patriarchy. Now, another big title match is confirmed for next Wednesday's edition of AEW Dynamite on TBS, involving the AEW TBS Championship. TBS Championship action is coming your way next week. Mercedes Moné celebrated her AEW Revolution win on this Wednesday's AEW Dynamite by gloating with Renee Paquette in a backstage promo. Eventually, Moné was interrupted by Billy Starks. After some back and forth smack talk, Starks revealed she'll be challenging Moné for the TBS Championship on next Wednesday's AEW Dynamite. As previously announced, the second round of the AEW International Championship Eliminator Tournament will take place. Also, Cope will challenge Jon Moxley for the AEW World Championship in a street fight. And finally, when it comes to the International Championship, maybe we're going to be seeing championship unification in the future. There could be less titles in AEW before long. With Kenny Omega winning the AEW International title at Revolution, many have discussed the possibility of unifying AEW titles. The common possibility was that of Kazuchika Okada's Continental Championship being merged with the International title in some capacity. Well, good news for those if you've wanted to see that. AEW sources that Fightful have spoken to claim that the combination has been pitched dating back a number of months, to the point that many in the company had considered them firm creative plans. Fightful have not heard specifically on who would be carrying that torch, or if the titles would form something collectively or be carried together or rebranded as unified titles. Of course, AEW also retired the FTW Championship in September of last year to help further consolidate the titles. Now, Fightful say they've not heard if Okada versus Omega is specifically part of those plans. But there you go, guys, the latest pro wrestling news for you. Be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe, bottom right-hand corner. As always, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and I'll speak to you again very, very soon.
Hey guys, thank you for watching, listening, streaming, or however you come across this video today. Be sure to click on the video on the right there to watch our next video, or click the bottom there to subscribe, or the bottom right-hand corner. Thank you very much, and I'll speak to you again very soon.